We'll make a quick repair on my Triumph here. This is my high mileage unit. So she's had a couple of repairs. But the dampening pads, the little rubber pads that are on the stainless steel plate that the engine mounts to the frame on, some of the parts that connect those have rusted away, and I've lost one or two of them, so the thing flaps around and bangs on the frame, the metal plate does. So let's take a look at how to get this done. I'm curious myself. Parts in question. By the design of them, I assumed it was just a bolt that ran through there, and there'd be a nut on the bottom, and that's, you know, just ran through that metal bumper, but that's not the case. And I'll show you on the new pieces. And there's several. There's some at the front too, and they're missing. There should be another one back here, I think. I'm not sure. I gotta see how this is set up. Dun, dun, dun. Here's my rather hefty box of parts for this. Fortunately, there's some instructions included, so I'm gonna read those instructions and then tell you what I found out. Well, after careful consultation with my directions here, you gotta take the engine out. So let's attempt that. So with any time you take the engine out of your Permagreen, which hopefully you won't have to do very often, you're gonna start by taking that off and the hood in the front. And to take this belt shroud cover off, just take these two bolts out right there. 1 minute into this repair, and I found a reason to go see if I can test out my lifetime Craftsman guarantee on this. If they even do that anymore. This ratchet won't ratchet anymore, it's locked up. I've got more though. Cover's off, it's squeaky clean under here. So I'm just gonna, I need both hands, but we'll push down on that and disconnect that spring over the hook there. And that'll disengage the belt. Okay, so I've got the belt pulled off. On most units, you would have to take these bolts out here, but mine, they're not attached anymore. I've also found something else while I'm digging around here. Can you see that idler pulley has a piece of melted plastic on it or something? I think it's time for one of those. I don't have one on me right now, I'm fresh out. I gotta pull back and disconnect the neutral safety switch stuff, and you'll have to take the throttle cable off, which might be easier said than done with the condition of that little Torx bolt right in there. You'll loosen that, and then it should just kind of loop off of there. Let's see. Took the air cleaner off to get a little closer look at it. It's actually a Phillips. Thought it was a Torx. This might not come off. Oh, it's turning. So there it is, looking like a 1963 Chevy Vega in somebody's driveway with the motor out. I'm gonna wash that out a little. All right, well, here's what I'm anticipating the real problem with doing this repair is gonna be, and that's getting these old bolts out. They look like they like it in there. Let me get you a close up. As you can see, these are highly corroded. There's two up there, two back here, two back here. Let's try the old air gun. locking vice grips on whatever's left of that nut up there. I got this offset style air wrench. Let's get them off. If that fails, I would assume it'd be pretty easy to cut off with a angle grinder. All right, on to the next one. Went in and took this idler pulley off. It's got some issues. I guess the belt slipped on it and just burned it, but I'm gonna run to the local small engine shop and see if he's got one, see if this is kind of a universal idler pulley. If not, I can just order one from Permagreen. It'll be here pretty quick, but I'll go check that out before I go any further. I'm gonna wash this all up, and then I gotta cut some bolts off of the frame on the Permagreen. I'll get back at it here in a second. Stand by. Fortunately, while it's small engine, the premier Bobcat Walker dealer in Red Oak, North Carolina had the pulley. I figured it would be just some kind of universal idler pulley. TR said it was one that used on a pretty common lawnmower deck. So I replaced this old skin up one with this shiny new one. This one right here is corroded so bad I can't get anything to grip onto it to cut to take it out. So I'm going to carefully cut this out with a side cutter here. If I got you in on the action, I guess. Yeah, watch out for your hoses and cables and such. All right, the most challenging part so far is getting these corroded bolts off of this. This is not that bad, but the ones in the machine were a little problematic because they're just harder to get to. I had to cut the last two out actually, but I've just got a pair of vice grips clamped on the bottom and I can get to it pretty good. And just take a impact wrench and turn them right off like that. All right, rinse and repeat. All right, this is how these things are made. It's actually separated a little bit, so it's a true dampener instead of what I was thinking it would be like. It's just a bolt through a rubber bumper. So there's actually some rubber in between where the two metal parts make contact. So it's just going to dampen that engine vibration out. Here's an old one, and that's what happens. It just kind of wallows out. There's one of the nuts out of it. All the bolt hardware is stainless. I'm not so sure about the guts to these bumpers. They may be stainless, I don't know, but these seem to have taken a little hit. Rough environment in the guts of a Permagreen now. Anyway, we're gonna put these back on. Rubber feet back on it. I gotta get it back in there. I cleaned all this up a little bit while I had it out, and I just showed you I replaced that. There's supposed to be a part that bolts on here with a little eye in it that goes into, but that's been lost to time, so we're just going to go with this method right here to keep tension on the belt. I did just go ahead and take the front hood off to give me an opportunity to clean under here, which you should do regularly anyway. But you can reach these nuts through the front to put them on the bottom, and I'm going to tighten those up. I don't want them super tight, but they got a little nylon ring in them so they won't back out, but I'm gonna put them in there just a little snug. But to take the front hood off, pretty simple. You just loosen your block up that holds the impeller on, drop the impeller down on it, and just take the whole thing out.
And on this is an older unit, so it does have 2 bolts in the hood. I'm gonna get my belt back on here while I got this front opened up and tighten these nuts up. And when you put your engine back in, of course you have to, so I can get in there. That's your only 2 wires in it. That's where your kill switch. Bolt it back on. I'm gonna clean out from under there real good before I put the hood cover back on. But now we've got new engine dampening rubber bumper block things. Should run like a champ. Put your spring back on your tensioner right here, your belt tensioner. It's our new idler pulley. I got to put this stop back on to hold the cable for the throttle. Went ahead and lubed everything while I had it apart. If you've got your barrel adjuster turned way out on your throttle to achieve your proper RPMs, this is a good opportunity to go ahead and screw that in some and take out your slack right there at that. So what you can do is just push this cable back a little further than it was previously clamped and go ahead and clamp it. Take out the slack there. Cables stretch over time. All right, we want to adjust our throttle since we've had that cable out. We want it to go to 3450. Off a little bit, run that out to increase it or back it in to decrease it. Go right here, Honda for you. Cleaned it all up under there. Now I'm just gonna put the impeller back on and button it up, and we'll be ready to go to work here in a minute. All right, the only rattling now is my muffler cover, and I have actually replaced the muffler cover on them before, and that doesn't really get it done either because the problem is the threads in the actual muffler. So if you want to fix that problem, buy you a muffler. But anyway, she's running now. Let's go over a few highlights of this. Got to put back together. Couple things. The kit is obviously available from Permagreen. It's a little bit of an upgrade from what came on it, and I assume so because it's got a couple of bolts that pass all the way through into the frame to hold that engine platform on. And this older version, or at least this particular one, didn't have that. So it was all just rested on those rubber bumpers, and once they rot away or do what they do, the whole engine platform can come out, as you saw how I removed it. And the only thing holding the engine in is the belt for the pulleys there. But simple repair, just takes some time and a little more involved. And when those heads are rotted off, it's a real pain to get them out, no doubt. But this machine's probably 1,600 hours, and I replaced them. And so if you wanted to do this as a maintenance thing, maybe before they completely go bad, maybe 600-800 hours. I don't know, but they'd be much easier to get out without them, without having to get the corroded end of the part that's up inside of that rubber damper out. Pretty straightforward thing to fix. You might experience similar problems on your higher hour machines. So I mean, it's definitely worth it to get it fixed because it was rattling on the frame. I don't know if you could really tell in that video I put up before, but also the engine would flop around when you went off a curve and stuff because there was nothing tethering it down. But with the new kit, with the straight pass-through bolts, and you don't put those in very tight, guys. It's that second one on this side and the second one on the front other corner, and they just kind of are in there to hold it, to hold the platform in case those rubber bumpers fail. Good opportunity to lube up your cables, clean it all out and everything when you got the engine out. Well, there you go. You can order that part from the old Permagreen. Give them a holler. Appreciate you guys watching.